It's quite funny, but you kind of do gauge everything by how much sleep, how much longer you can stay in bed. You know, as a parent.
Well, I mean, when I was in my 20s, I would start late, I'd get up early, and sleep really didn't matter. If I lost some sleep, I'd probably catch up eventually, or whatever it is. Now you realise what a commodity sleep is, how you give anything for an extra half an hour in bed, how you might cover an afternoon nap, which is something you assumed only people over 87 would ever contemplate. But now, an afternoon nap becomes some sort of luxury because it's an extra bit of shut-eye. Because you know you're going to be up late doing packed lunches and clearing up and cooking for the next day and getting school uniforms ready. So, and you're going to get woken up the next day to take them to soccer. So now, you know, we've got, you know, Saturdays is all about, you know, the kids. So it's not about you anymore. But yeah, as they get older, everyone you can tick off, every job that they can then do themselves becomes a major milestone.
Yeah. It's a tricky question, and who comes first, your kids or your partner?
Well, that's
and I don't know if there's a definitive answer.
It's a good question, but I guess you think if there was if the house was on fire,
I think that's tough.
What would you do? Once you got your phone and your iPad and one of the kids out, you maybe go back for the wife. But I suppose it's difficult to say who comes first. That's like saying, is your lung more important than your liver? You know, you need both to function. It's difficult to prioritise one over the other. I suppose, looking at it practically, it's your kids who are going to look after you when you're old, so maybe, that's vote for them. On the other hand, your wife kind of gives you sex and cups of tea, that's, vote for her. You kind of look at it, you can look at it both ways.
Yeah, I know.
By the way, my wife would say that the kids come first. She wouldn't hesitate over that question.
Yeah, well, I just read an article by a woman, and she was talking about how, mothers, or she as a mother, felt about her, she's got quite young children, and that she felt that they came first.
Yeah.
I can understand that. I can see that from a woman's point of view.
Yeah. But with a woman, her friends come second, then her mum comes next.
Oh yeah, the husband.
You're kind of some way down the pecking order, just behind the postal pushing things.
Yeah, for the milkman. Is there anything your wife thinks you could do better to be a better father?
Well, I'm sure there would be quite a list. Well, we have different. I think we have different standards.
Yeah.
And so, she, for example, would walk into this room now and despair of what a terrible mess it is. I would look and say, "Oh, it looks quite tidy." I can cope with the fact that there might be an empty Coke can sat on the side for a couple of weeks because whereas to her it would be there calling her and yelling out to her, it would be challenging her, and it would be a sign of my lack of respect. So she has the priorities that everything has to be spick and span. She would hoover twice a week, I would hoover twice a year. They're the kind of things, and probably somewhere in the middle is a happy compromise. Yeah, when I suggest a happy compromise, it tends to be agreeing to her side of it rather than to my side of it.
Yeah.